Okay, welcome back to the Flip class. Today we're going to start a brand new unit and we're going to be talking about geometry. And you can see there's lots of lines on here because that's kind of what we're talking about. Today we're going to go through some definitions, so you're going to want to write these down. We will talk about these in class, but there may not be an opportunity for you to actually sit down, write them down like I have here. So this would be a good way to start your geometry journal, so to speak. Okay, the first word we're going to talk about is point. Okay? A point names an exact location in space. So when I make a dot with my marker, that's a point. And how you would draw it, because we do label our points, you would draw it as point A. So if I have another point over here, I might have point B. Okay? How you read it is you read it just like it sounds. Point A. That's how you read it aloud. Okay? And how you would write it if you were writing about point A, this is how you draw it. This is how you would write it in a sentence. Point A. Okay? One example would be where the walls and the floor meet. They meet at a point, like the corner of a room. Okay? Again, pencil and a dot. That's a point in space. Okay? Next definition. A line segment. It's part of a line that has two end points. See how we just talked about points? Well, here's point A, here's point B, and here is the line segment that goes between point A and point B. When we talk about lining up and walking through the hallways in line, you're not really in a line. You're in a line segment because you have your first person in line, you have the last person in line, and the line segment is in between those two people. The line doesn't keep going on and on. It's a line segment, okay? You would read it, for example, if you drew point A, point B, and I had a line segment in between, you would have line segment AB, okay, or line segment BA, depending on which way you wanted to go, okay? But you just read it just like it sounds. So if you see A and B, two endpoints with the line in between it, you know that's line segment AB, or line segment BA. This is how you write a line segment. You write it as AB, which are the 2 points, or BA, with a line over it. No arrows, no anything. I'll write it even just a little bit bigger. Line segment AB. It just has a line over it. So if you see 2 letters, or more than 2 even, but letters that have that line over it and there's nothing to the line, it's just a straight line, you know, oh, that's line segment AB. Okay? And just for one example, we have a little book here, kind of looks like your planner, right? Here's a line segment. Check that out. It goes right over it, doesn't it? There's 2 endpoints. There's that line in between, but it doesn't go on forever. Okay? The next definition that you're going to need to know is a line. Okay? A line segment and a line, similar but different. Okay? A line is a straight path of points that continues without end in one direction. Okay? So, unlike a line segment, which has 2 endpoints, a line just keeps going. Okay? Here's how you would draw it. In this case, I have point D and point E. They're not end points because they don't end that line, but they are points on the line. But you see I have arrows here. If you can't see it, I'll make it even a little bit more obvious. This line has arrows in both directions, which means the line continues on in both directions. Okay? How you would read it, in this case, we have points D and E on the line. You would read it line DE or line ED. Okay? And when you're writing a line, instead of a line segment, when you're writing a line, you have the arrows above it. So it looks just like the line, but you make sure you put those arrows to show it keeps going in both directions. Okay? So I'll just do it a little bit bigger here for you. In this case, we have line DE. I'm going to put DE and put my arrows both ways. So when I look at this, I know, well, that's not a line segment because it doesn't end. So it's line DE. And one example that I put on the board for you here is a road. When you think about a road that just keeps going and going, it doesn't necessarily have endpoints. Now you might say, well, there are intersections on a road, sure, and those might be points on the road, but the road that keeps going, like the highway. Okay? So we have 2 more to go through here. All right? This is a ray. Okay? Not an array, but a ray. Okay? It's part of a line that has one endpoint and then continues in the other direction. Okay? So you see, for D, there actually is an endpoint there. There's no arrow. Okay? That's the end or the beginning of the line. Then it continues on, and there's another point E, just for reference, but I'll draw it a little bit bigger. There's an arrow here showing us that the line stops here, but continues on and on and on and on and on, going this way, okay? When you read that out loud, you read it as Ray DE, okay? Because you notice it only goes one direction there, okay? Just like the band, right? Okay? When you write it just like you see the arrow, DE, and you write it in that direction with the arrow going that direction. So I'll write it a little bit bigger so you can see it. DE, and I know it's a ray because it stops or starts here and it continues on this way. So nothing here, no endpoints, no anything, just a line. But since it continues on in this direction, I'm going to put my arrow at the end here. Okay? And one example we have, if you ever see an exit sign, right? Well, the exit sign starts here and goes this way because it's pointing you to go that way. It's nothing past that way. Okay? Nothing beyond that side. Last one we're going to look at today is a plane, not an airplane, a plane. It's a flat surface that continues without end in all directions, okay? And you might draw it, and for example, we have a shape here with different endpoints, or excuse me, different points in it, okay? And you would read that as plane KLM, okay? You would write it as plane, KML, okay? And just one example I had was just a surface that, you know, maybe if you had the points continuing, you would see that it continued on. But you can put points on a various surface like a table or whatnot. Okay, that's all I have for today for geometry. I do want to make sure that you go back, you can rewatch that, make sure you know the differences between lines, rays, endpoints, all that good stuff, and write it down because you're going to want to bring that tomorrow. Okay, so bring your journal and show me that you have all your definitions down. I'll see you then.